Hi everyone, my name is Lucian. Most of you know me from Twitter as Triangle Investor. In today's edition of CEO and market expert interviews, I'm joined by Askar Batyrbayev. Askar is a very well-known name in uranium commercial operations with 20 years of experience in uranium and nuclear energy and former chief commercial officer at the largest uranium producer in the world, Kazatomprom. Askar, thank you for coming to my show. It's great to meet you and I'm looking forward to this chat.
Thank you for having me, Lucian. It's a pleasure to participate and answer all your questions and questions from your audience. So
thanks.
It's good to join, and it's good to talk about very interesting market developments that we're seeing now.
Definitely. Askar, I already said a few things about you, but I would like to ask you if you can give us your origin story, your background, and of course, what are you doing, in which roles are you at the moment?
Yeah, well, so I spent almost all of my working career in Kazatomprom Group. Like graduating from university in 2005, I joined one of the JVs, just newly established JV between Kazatomprom and two Japanese companies, Sumitomo Corporation and Kansai Electric. So it was a PAC JV. There I spent like 9 years, working from 2006 to 2015, and then I joined JV Inkai, which is a joint venture between Kazatomprom and Cameco Corporation. I spent there almost 2 years when in 2017, when Kazatomprom had a big transformation program, and we're completely renewing and changing marketing team there. There was a good chance for the people in joint ventures to try to join the headquarters, and like many people are just dreaming to do that. So in 2017, I joined Kazatomprom. I joined sales support department, and I was leading logistics unit within that department. And then gradually I was like being promoted, and in 2021 I take the position of chief commercial officer, and kind of resigned from that position in January 2023. So basically I was working in the producing joint ventures, then switching very smoothly to headquarters, and and like being or leading the team for marketing, sales, logistics, and strategy at my last position. So I mean, everyone knows that Kazatomprom is a world leader in terms of production and sales of natural uranium.
Yeah,
that was a very hard work done by a very talented team. This team is still there, so I'm very proud that they're continuing all the efforts. So like after I left Kazatomprom, I had some cooling period for several months, and then I started the discussion with the different parties at the market. And in the end, I ended up choosing two companies. Well, basically 3 companies. So I'm first joined NECG. That's consulting group. So like, and I'm just an affiliate there. So whenever there is a project, I could be like brought into the team that will be doing this project. If not, then like we're just waiting for the proper chance to turn up. And then like I was very interested in a different part of the business, like being on the side of the table of the biggest producer. Like I wanted to more understand the financial part of our market, and like wanted to see how financials are working, what are they doing. So I joined as a member of advisory board at newly coming or new coming financial institution, which is PFYN. We call it PFIN. So it has two originations in Singapore and in Switzerland, and the main fund will be based in Luxembourg. Also, I joined WMC Energy, well-known company that has a very, very good team coming from all the different companies across the market. And I also liked that project, and I joined them as a senior advisor. So I'm helping them on some designated projects, which we are discussing with the whole team. So these are where I ended and where I'm working. So I'm like more trying to get myself into the other part of that business. So basically financials and trading.
Great, Beth. Great. You have an enormous experience in nuclear energy and uranium. So you mentioned a new fund. What can you tell us about that?
Well, not much I can tell now, but I'll definitely share a link with you, Lucien, so that you can share with your audience.
Thanks.
They can read it. So this link was distributed during WNA. PFIN had a booth at the exhibition area, and there was a lot of discussions and explanations. So not much I can say yet now, due to some restrictions.
Of course.
But generally, I mean, this will be very interesting project. It will be different from what we have on the existing financials market now. It will be different from Sprott, Yellowcake, Ano Energy, Zuri Invest. So I can say that it will be different and very, very, very interesting. And it won't be just kind of buy and hold. So it will all depend on the needs of investors. So it could actually invest into different parts of the nuclear fuel cycle.
Got it.
As of now, that's all I can say about that fund.
Fair enough. We will let the investors draw their own conclusion about that fund, but we will leave the link you sent me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's start with a basic fundamental question, and let's take 12 to 18-month horizon. Askar, is there enough uranium on the market on both primary and secondary supply side to cover the demand, and or we will have to see more uranium production increase to meet global demand, like Kazatomprom announcing today in their press release? What do you think?
Well, I mean, definitely there is not much uranium available on the market at the moment. That's for sure. And I mean, we can see from the price movements, from the recent price movements, even without any deals. I mean, the price is moving because no one is offering. So there is not much material on the market. There are some supply chain disruptions for sure that's impacting this availability of the material on the market. And I guess now the sellers are like having a good time enjoying enjoying these discussions and selecting whom they can sell, and even like sitting on the material and waiting for even better value for this material. And like
they can speculate, you mean?
Yeah, well, in some terms, of course, they can, but they also see that there is a very, very big interest and demand coming on the spot market. Sprott is now trading with a premium to NAV, so they are raising money, and obviously they will come for uranium. Yellowcake is also doing good, and like they've already announced that they will be exercising their option with Kazatomprom, 100 million in full capacity at the price of 65.50, I guess. And they raised slightly more than that. So, I mean, we could be expecting maybe that they will be raising more money. I don't know. But that definitely shows that financials would be active. We're still waiting for like any developments at Ano Energy. Zuri Invest is very quiet, but But as far as I'm hearing, they're like having some small deals.
Yeah.
And of course, PFYN, PFIN, they will also will be at some point on the market, and that will create a very, very big tightness. And apart from that, there is a lot of other interest from other financials, which we have seen at WNA. So a lot of people are willing to invest directly into commodity, not at the capital market. So, like, I think it will be a very, very tight market till the end of this year, and I don't think it will be better next year because we already have plans from the biggest producers, like from Kazatomprom and from Cameco, and we still have to count on some difficulties in terms of ramping up the production. We should also carefully see what would be the final figures of production from Kazatomprom and from Cameco. And I think Cameco already decreased their guidance in terms of production. So which shows that this process is not that easy. So as you said, like 12 to 18 months is a very short period, and I would say that within the current environment of supply chain disruptions, with like a lot of difficulties, the geopolitical environment, I mean, it's not that easy to ramp up production very quickly. So it's not that that easy and that quick as was expected before.
You said ramping production, primary supply, but let's touch on secondary supply a little bit. Some projections say that by the end of the decade, secondary supply will be close to zero. Do you agree with that?
Well, if market continues like today, I mean, we should be expecting that there will be no excess capacity at secondary market. I mean, enrichers are not doing underfeeding, so they're changing their plans. Well, BHP could be a surprise. I mean, depends on, again, if there will be a high demand for copper, there will be more uranium produced by them. But again, like it won't be that much of the material, and like BHP for the recent years, they are not selling to the market. They are selling directly at the market price, usually to utilities. So like they are also taking some disciplined approach, and that shows like there shouldn't be a lot of the material available. So I visited all three conferences this year, like WNFM, WNFC, and WNA. And on all the conferences, people are saying there is not much secondary supply already, not even by the end of the decade, but there is already no like excess secondary supply on the market. So, I mean, we should count, or like industry should count now only on the primary production, I guess, and that should be the main focus for utilities.
Askar, do you think that in the coming weeks we will see a number of utilities coming to the market with RFPs, requests for proposals, looking to formally purchase additional uranium for both short-term and long-term? That was one of the topics that I heard that was on WNA London. What's your take on this?
Well, as far as I have seen, I mean, utilities did not stop the procurement from the beginning of the year. So they were not issuing official RFPs, but they were quietly buying like from the market with a very quiet RFPs, without any notice, without any announcement. So many utilities were buying, and they would be buying by the end of the year. So usually, like, people are waiting that some of the US utilities will have some savings on their budgets, which they will definitely would like to use to buy more material in a short term and most probably in a long term or mid-term. But it all depends if there will be any available material. And of course, if material will be there, then what should be the price to sell?
Yeah, definitely. I saw a tweet 2 days ago, I think, where Royal Bank of Canada stated in one report that Russia may be short of pounds and that Rosatom has apparently put out a U308 market request seeking to acquire more uranium. Is that a possible scenario? What is your take on this?
That's a possible scenario, but I mean, I've never heard within my experience of cooperation with Rosatom and Tenex. I mean, I don't remember that they were putting any
Publicly.
official bids, public bids, yeah, especially at Western converters. Like because they have their own domestic and overseas program, they usually bring it to Russia and like start converting enrichment and then like fabrication as well. And as well, like they were selling their EUP to all the Western companies and still selling. So, I mean, I heard a story that they might be short because many companies that they are working with are actually trying to put their contracts with Tenex upfront. So like they want to get as much as possible. And of course, in that environment, Tenex would be happy, I guess, would be happy to sell this. So they might be short of feed. That's a possible scenario, but I'm not sure that they would be coming with with a public bid because like they know where to go and like how to buy. But I'm not sure that they can get enough material, even if they can like produce more and deliver more. But I mean, the feed is now a real problem. Like natural uranium is in a high demand, and I'm not very sure that there is much left, even at the biggest producers.
I had Amir Adnani, he's the CEO of Uranium Energy Corp, in my show a few days ago, and he said very interesting thing about how tight uranium market is. That is very difficult to buy 100 or 200 pounds at the moment, not to mention big numbers like £1 million, and that purchase could lead like a price increase of $10 if somebody actually succeeds to buy that kind of amount. Would you agree on that?
Well, to some certain degree, I would agree. I mean, but this is not a story of this year. I mean, when Sprott came 2 years ago, they started to buy very aggressively, and they moved the price for $10 very, very quickly. And the quantities that they were buying were not that big. Now the market is even tighter, but like, yeah, of course, 100, 200, maybe 500,000 pounds might move price very significantly. I don't think that for $10, but like $5 move is possible, provided that there is no material. And you know, at some point of time, like you know, there are some offtakes by Japanese trading companies like Marubeni Itochu. They have it from Uzbek producers. So once that portion arrives, I mean, usually there is available material. The same story had with UG whenever they were receiving Niger material. They were also having the material to sell. So it depends on timing and depends on some certain like delivery schedules. There could be a market conditions where, yeah, like Amir said, very, very small volumes could be moving the price up. But I'm pretty sure that there is a material, but it all depends on what price.
Of course, like in every commodity.
Yes.
Yeah, Askar, we have all witnessed uranium prices soar to the current levels in very bullish environment, not only evidenced by usual stories of nuclear energy again being in favor, projected higher uranium demand, utilities restocking, etc., but also by technical and logistical problems, like you said at the beginning. Of some producers. I have read in the most recent article of The Economist that came out last week that Cameco and Kazatomprom have lots of unused capacity. On that note, The Economist has quoted Tom Price of Liberium, who estimated that both Cameco and Kazatomprom could add 15 to 20% of global supplies within 12 to 18 months. my question is, what's your opinion on this? Is such an expectation feasible at all?
Well, as we see from this year developments, it's very difficult to ramp up that in 12 to 18 months. I would be very frank. I mean, yes, they have capacities, they have unused capacities. So for Cameco, like their license capacity is 25 million pounds, which is for both of mines. But that means that they will have to like have much more people, more like chemicals, everything. So they have to be well prepared to come to that level. And of course, they should have contracts, which usually Grant is saying that like whenever they have a incentivizing price with a contract supported, they have a safe home, they're ready to increase it. So that's a possible scenario, but I don't think that it could be done like in like 12 to 18 months. It has some preparational works. Like we have seen that they were starting MacArthur. It wasn't very easy.
Yeah.
So this process has to be very stable, very accurate to make sure that like you will have a stable and good production. And it's very hard like to bring it in 12 months very, very quickly. Very similar thing, I mean, would be with Kazatomprom. Technically, both companies are able to increase within 12 to 18 months, theoretically. Yeah, so they have everything, but it all will depend on supply chain disruptions. Like there is a very high demand on sulfuric acid in Kazakhstan at the moment. And like if before sulfuric acid was like very free, was available with some excess capacity. Yeah. Then currently, I mean, there is a very big deficit of sulfuric acid for those who are actually looking for in Kazakhstan. So that will also create a very big question mark in terms of like ramping up production very significantly. And of course, like I've seen Kazatomprom's publication about that they will be returning back to 100% of their subsoil use contracts in 2025. And like Dastan quoted there, because this is also supported by the market dynamics and additional contracts signed. I mean, that's something they would be moving towards 100%, but this is already a very significant increase. They can actually go to 120%, but this will require even more like preparational works, development work, geological work, of course, sulfuric acid, pipes. So all these things has to be well prepared in advance. And if it could be done, then theoretically they can do that. And again, I think that they will be doing it only in case they will see that there is very, very good pricing conditions on the contracts for the future.
Good point. Askar, I want to touch a bit on Kazakhstan export of uranium. Is all Kazakh output locked at this moment with majority of material going to Russia and China? Or is there any material really finding new customers at other countries? And by that, I especially mean the material that is sold from global trading hub in Alasenko.
Well, good question. I mean, to some certain extent, I cannot tell much there, but
I mean, generally.
Kazatomprom in annual report, they are showing the countries that they are delivering and selling.
Yeah.
So I think we should be referring to these figures. So their portfolio is very well diversified. They have like deliveries to every part of the world. US is well covered. Of course, China as the like closest neighbor and the biggest market, potentially biggest market, is buying like almost 50% of what Kazatomprom is selling.
Output.
So like I think Kazatomprom is like what we put as main ideas, like we were trying to get every single customer, reach every single customer after we changed that, let's say, marketing approach. So every year, Kazatomprom, starting from 2017, every year Kazatomprom was adding at least several new customers and countries. Like there were deliveries to Romania, which was announced by Kazatomprom earlier this year. It wasn't the first one, but still, like they are continuing to deliver to the new clients that they managed to get. So I think Argentina, Brazil, so these countries were added to portfolio of Kazatomprom, and they are still, I guess, delivering. They are very well diversified within this, so they are not relying just on two countries like China and Russia. So I think that approach is a good approach, and I mean, I hope that they will still continue to be in the same direction, because they like they have a very good basis to do that. About Alasenko trading hub, I mean, this was a very interesting project announced by CNUC, by Simon-san. When I was working in Kazatomprom, we jointly worked on this project and developed. And like currently, it's more like storage place rather than trading hub yet, because they still have to develop necessary legal framework to make sure that like foreign companies could hold the title of the material in China. So I think they are working on this.
So it's not officially it's not officially established, so to say.
Let's say the Alasenko warehouse is already there, and they are expanding it as they were promoting. So now I think they are in the second phase and increasing it to 10,000 or 13,000 tons.
Okay.
By the end of this year, which I think that they will be successfully implementing. But the trading part, I think that's the next step, and they have to carefully bring that legal framework, make sure that that place will have the possibility to bring foreign traders, intermediaries, I mean producers, everyone who would be interested to trade there. So if it happens, I mean that would be very, very interesting place to to see, because it will create a fourth, let's say, location for trading, and that will definitely change a lot in terms of price formation and in terms of how like people would be trading. Initially, when we were discussing it with Simon, I mean the project was very promising, and so I mean I can say that I wish very, very, very best of luck to guys in CNUC and Kazatomprom to develop it, and like maybe someday we will hear that this project is operating and doing good, because I mean the amount of material just passing through this single dot at the map, which is boundary between Kazakhstan and China, is more than the rest of the world's uranium delivered. So you can imagine that, like, if there will be a lot of, if there will be a trading like there, very active trading, with a lot of liquidity, I mean this will change a lot in terms of dynamics on the market and in terms of price formation for sure.
Would you say that the Western utilities are too slow in the process of locking supply compared with China and Russia, who seems to be always one step ahead? What's your take on this?
Well, I wouldn't say that. You know, it's very difficult to compare like China, Russia, and Western utilities, because these are state-owned companies, and utilities are private companies. So state-owned company can build up a huge inventory and buy in advance, like, so they have this possibility, and they have this financial strength to do.
Yeah.
Whilst like utilities privately owned, they have to carefully manage their cash flows, money, budget.
Yeah.
So like even though they know that like today is a very good time to buy, but they cannot buy like 5-year inventory now, knowing that the price would be higher tomorrow. So they still have to follow their procurement procedures and plans and strategies that they have. So I guess, well, I'm seeing that most Western utilities are very actively trying to buy whatever they can buy, but they have just a different approach from China and Russia. So I mean, it's very hard to compare, and I mean, we cannot say that they are very slow, but they are just limited within some certain frames. And of course, like the one who comes last will have the highest price.
Of course, yeah. Top 10 uranium producing countries. We know they are Kazakhstan, Canada, Namibia, Australia, Uzbekistan, Russia, Niger, and China, and India, I think, and I don't know what was the last one, South Africa, I think. Do you see that order changing soon? I mean, Kazakhs are the first, Canada is the second, Namibia is third. Do you see that order changing soon in terms of producing countries? And which country could join that list by, let's say, end of the decade?
Well, I mean, I think the order will pretty much stay the same by the end of the decade. Mm-hmm. Like, what were the announcements made by biggest producers? I mean, Uzbekistan said that they will be doubling their production by the end of the decade. So they will go from 3,500 tons to 7,000 tons. So that's very like ambitious plans, and but I don't see why they wouldn't be able to reach it. And they are doing some exploration as well together with one of the Orano companies, I think with Orano Mining. So that might also add some additional points. I mean, I heard that there are some exploration and some works in Mongolia, but it's not very well announced whether there is any successful project yet, and it's very difficult and very challenging to see how they can like create there. But I know that Orano is doing some work there, and there is one more company working there. But I haven't heard that they had much of success there, and they like managed to produce at least a single pound of uranium. So like Mongolia could be, but very doubtfully that they will be a major player by the end of this decade. I mean, everyone is still looking at US. I mean, US potentially and theoretically could be back, and could be back with some let's say significant numbers if they will bring all of their
planned production.
Production that they have suspended. So if they will have all the support, all this production could be backed by the contracts, by the utilities, I don't know, by the government. That's a possibility to see US coming back to the club of producers. And of course, I mean, Canada have also some certain
capacity
at the same place where Cameco is mining. There's I think ISO Energy, Denison Mines. So there are some promising projects like
Next Gen Fission.
Next Gen Fission, like with a very I mean, they are promoting that they will have very small production cost, but no one knows like what would be the capital expenditures just to start the mine. And of course, there is a lot of legal framework as well with the local communities. So, but I mean, we might be seeing these projects moving ahead, and there is a good one good mine in Niger that that potentially might have a lot of the material.
Yeah, Global Atomic and OVX Uranium are both in Niger.
Yeah, but I think the name of that deposit was Imamuren.
Yeah, that was a mine from Orano.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if Orano will still be doing the production there. It's not yet clear.
Yeah.
But potentially, I mean, the one who comes and starts that production might have some significant reserves. I heard, well, the figures were like they have 180,000 tons, or I might be wrong, but the figures are very, very big. So there's some potential in Namibia as well. Well, Australia, I mean, one of the countries that potentially might also add up several mines. But other than them, I mean, I heard that there's like potential to mine uranium in Brazil, but it will all depend because uranium would be as a byproduct, and they are going to mine some fertilizers or something. So depends if they can start mining and there will be a demand for these fertilizers, then they might have some uranium to sell. But again, this will be the secondary supply source, not the primary. So, and of course, I mean, Kazakhstan has the biggest reserves, the biggest potential, and I mean, they can bring more and more mines in operation once they will see that there is a clear market signals, or like they will have maybe some different strategy and will like decide to make additional exploration and might potentially bring. So I think by the end of the decade, we shouldn't see much changes within that top 10. There might be some countries returning back, like US. Might be some changes within the places, like maybe Uzbekistan would be moving higher. But I think like top 3 or top 5 will stay the same.
Probably. Askar, I know that you don't have a crystal ball, but with all said, this all news is ultra bullish for uranium. Where do you see spot price 1 year from now, and where do you see spot price like 3-4 years from now? I know it's you don't have a crystal ball, but do you have any opinion on that?
You know, we were having a chat with Jimmy with Blue Street Capital. In the end of April, he had a similar question, like where the price could be moving, and I said with the right environment, with everything, with everything good, with a good environment for financials. I mean, like what we're seeing with the share price of Sprott and Yellowcake. So as we discussed with Jimmy at that time, they were deeply with the discount, traded with a deep discount from NAV. And at that time, we were already like discussing the possibility that it can happen. And actually this happened now. And we're seeing that the price is already 70, when I think at that time in April, no one would ever believe and count that the price would be there. I think I told Jimmy that like it will be definitely some ups and downs within the year, but the general trend would be increasing trend. And I still believe that there will be an increasing trend. We might see some price fluctuations by the end of the year, maybe some more, like as long as the market is very hot now, many producers who are not selling to utilities directly might bring some material to the traders, to intermediaries by the end of the year. So at the end of the year, there might be more material on the market, and we might see some small drop of the price. It's possible. But if the appetite from financials will still remain at the current level, I mean, they would be very easily like soar everything that will be on the market. And I mean, again, with the right environment, we might see 80 by the end of the year. And I mean, for the future, I don't know, like if we go back to what usually communicated by the biggest producers, especially like Grant, where several times we're saying that he wants, so like 60 is no longer a desired price.
Yeah.
So I guess it should be starting maybe with 8 or 9 somewhere. So that might be the price for the future, like 2 or 3 years. That would be incentivizing producers to bring more capacity to the market. But this should be a very like sustainable price, not the price like we have seen in 2008 when it went to 135 and then dropped back to 40.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's not a sustainable. It never helps to the market, not to utilities and not to producers. So if producers and utilities will work together and help each other at some certain point, I think the price will definitely have to increase, because like new mines have to be triggered by the new price. So it should be some sustainable price. And frankly speaking, I mean, natural uranium price in the final price of the fuel assembly is a single digit part.
Yeah.
So even that, if it will be like 120, of course it will have like more burden on utility side, on their budgets, but generally it will not add too much to the, let's say, final price of the fuel assembly. So I mean, if we want to see a stable market with a new capacity, production capacity coming, I mean, definitely price should be increasing. And like what we see from supply and demand picture, I mean, like, the new production has to be triggered. Otherwise, by the end of the decade, I mean, it would be very, very tough, tough market.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. One final question, Askar, and that is the possible timeline of some news regarding of your new fund. When can we expect more details?
Well, I'm not sure when, but I think we there will be some communication very soon. But
Okay.
as of now, I mean, I was like, I cannot tell too much of this because of the NDAs and many other things, and like so for now, I mean, we should be expecting that by the end of the year, like the fund would be on the market. That's I guess that's all I can say.
That's enough for me. Askar, this is my last question. Sorry. What's your take on the new announcement from Kazatomprom about new CEO? What do you think about that?
Wow, yeah. Well, that was a very surprise announcement. But I think it's very, very positive. The new CEO who is coming, he was like leading Kazatomprom's efforts to bring Kazatomprom to IPO at that time when he was working for the previous time period there. I had the pleasure to work with him. He's a very, very decent guy. He has a very good experience. So I think that's a very, very positive for Kazatomprom, and his experience and his knowledge will definitely push Kazatomprom even further. And I mean, I personally believe that they will be doing much, much better now.
Excellent. That was Askar. Thank you very much for being my guest. You really helped a lot with your great answers. And I hope we will catch up sometime soon again. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. That was a pleasure for me. Thank you, Lucy.